Da-na-na-na-na-na. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Address of Champions Wrestling Podcast with the hostess with the mostest. I'm Damani. We have Serena, and I'm excited.
Everybody.
How we doing today?
I'm excited. Now that this is releasing, it's Sunday. Everyone's listening to us. We have a lot of
Yeah.
things coming up. Busy, busy, busy. I gotta say, we are very
What's up?
busy.
What's up? How's your day been? What you get into today?
My day has been it's been pretty good. I did a lot of things for Rest Like a Girl today that for the upcoming event that will be in Iowa. It's the National Collegiate Women's Wrestling Championship. Yes, where the event
Are we
merchandise.
are we gonna be there for that?
100%. Yeah, it's me getting shipped off
Boy,
to Iowa, which I'm excited for. Anthony, I think Tim.
the air over there smells like Frosted Flakes and Cheerios.
No.
It's like they have like the one cereal company, General Mills, the factory.
Really?
Like the factories there. Like every time I went there, I was in like Cedar Rapids though. So you're in the air, like in the air. It smells like cereal. It's the trippiest thing ever. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah,
So
no.
that's interesting.
I've been to
But
Des Moines before, but I was just in a hotel most of the time.
yeah, not for me. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up, right?
Yeah, we have a lot. So we have that March 7th. It starts. We also have PIAA individual states that same
That's at
weekend.
Hershey.
That's at
Hershey.
Hershey. Yep.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
the following weekend will be at Penn State for the Keystone State Championships, which will be very exciting. I'm repping our first year gear, so we'll be at
Okay.
Keystone. We
Because
have the
people need to
qualifiers.
be on the lookout for our
Yep.
upcoming stuff. We got a lot of stuff coming out, ready to promote the Keystone. Right. If you like the gear, check it out on the socials. It'll be up and running.
Yeah, we posted the
But
schedule. So all the qualifiers started this week. I think it started on the 15th. So as we're recording right now, Tim, Anthony, and Kevin, they're at Southeast qualifiers, I believe. I have to look at the schedule, but we'll be there this entire week into state championships. So
okay.
busy,
All
busy,
right.
busy.
So episode 6, here we are, right? And again, we got another coach's corner today. This should be an exciting one, a fun one, because we have someone that's actually getting into the podcast industry himself, right? So we have my man AJ, who's a former wrestler for G.A.R Memorial High, and he's now currently coaching for Wilkes-Barre Area, that school district, that school system. So we're super excited to bring him on. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Give me one moment, please.
No, big dog.
Don't get it twisted. This rush is my motherfucker of game. What you heard is what you hearing. It's what you hearing. Listen, it's what you hearing. Listen, it's what you hearing. Listen.
That's funny.
That got me.
That's great. I'm telling you, it's one of those songs, man. You come out to DMX, it just turns you, man. It does.
What's up, dog? Excited to have you on here.
How you doing? How you guys doing? I'm
Oh.
glad to be here.
We're
Good.
always chilling. We're always
It is
chilling. That's
exciting.
it. We're always chilling.
No,
Excuse
the
my
word.
craziness.
This isn't chill.
We get crazy
Right.
over here. But all
I
right,
like
man.
it.
Let's
Energy's
dive
great.
right
Energy's
into it.
great.
Let's dive right into it. Let's hear your story. What brought you here? What brought you into the sport of wrestling? Let's go. Let's dissect.
So, just growing up, like I came up behind my older brother. Let's start off my uncle wrestled at junior high and stuff like that. As he got into senior high, he got in a car accident and kind of messed him up for a while. So he didn't wrestle too long. You know, my older brother, my dad got us into it. My older brother wrestled. I came up behind him. I'm 5 years younger than him. So literally, like, I was on a mat at like 2, 3 years old. As soon as I go walk, I was putting shoes on and rolling around with like kids my size, like other people, other coaches' kids and whatnot. And came up through elementary, you know, did some good things there. Came up through high school, did some good things there. Unfortunately, I didn't go to college. During high school, I had my first child. I was a junior, so you know I had other duties, obviously, and things I had to go through. But it never stopped me from obviously loving the sport and continue. You know, I finished my career, my high school career and stuff. You know, I made sure I did that and graduated and all that. But yeah, like I came up from literally as soon as I could. I couldn't even tie my own shoes yet, and I was on a mat rolling around, learning moves, and getting drilled and yelled and do this, do that, and, you know. So I was always around it. It was just fun coming up like that. You know, wrestling's a great sport. It's great.
Man, love that. Congrats for that. You know, that's hard. I went to school with a lot of kids. You know, things happen and life hits you. Life be life.
Yeah.
But
right. I mean, I honestly like wrestling helped me get through that though. You know, because it makes you mentally tough. You know, it just makes you different breed of person. So like going through that kind of like wrestling was my outlet too. You know, like so going through that type of stuff and just having a lot of things go on. That was like a sport where I could go and release that. You know, so there's a lot of respect for wrestling.
Yes, sir. Now, what? Obviously, if you said you had a kid during your junior year, so you're wrestling as a senior with the kid. All right. Now,
And a little chilly.
Yeah, right. She was on the side. You know, I win a match, go over. She hugged me. You know, it was great. You know, it was just a great feeling. Like, you know what I mean? It was like it was cool because like she don't remember that, but it was like somewhere on somebody's phone. You know, like one of my parents' old phones or something. There's a picture there. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I know the memories there or printed out somewhere on somebody's family album or something. You know, but you know, it was different. You know, but it was something to look forward to. It gave me something more to fight about out there and stuff. You know, like she was watching me, so it just gave me that. You know,
the edge to put you over the top, especially mentally. Like,
absolutely.
I got a little girl. You know, I'm getting after this. Like, we're not on the same type of time right now. Like,
right. I want her to see me go out as a warrior.
Love. Yeah, for sure. Now, what was that like, your high school experience? Did you go to any clubs or you just wrestling all year?
So like how it went was like, so I didn't wrestle 12 months, you know, so like I wrestled the wrestling season and then like I'd catch some roll arounds through. I got the summer, like a coach of mine had been in my life, literally like held me and coached my brother like when I was a baby, like, you know, he'd call me, you know, yo, what are you doing? Yo, I'm picking you up. You know what I mean? You come up in this pickup truck, come pick me up. We go to like a roll around in the summer somewhere. Or, you know, like I didn't tour much to like tournament or like do much outside of like the wrestling year. Cause I was also in other sports. Like I played, you know, I was wrestling. I played baseball. I played football like my whole life until up to like 8th grade. And then like, just, you know how schools are, like wrestling's not one of those sports where politics or anything could play in. You know, if you want my position, you got to beat me for it. So like, it wasn't where, you know, I played hard all week or, you know, I practiced good all week and I'm still sitting on the sideline. It was like, no, like I practiced hard all week. I win my wrestle off. That's mine. You know what I mean? So but once I learned how high school worked like that, I just fell back off football and baseball and just focused on wrestling hardcore. And then, you know, off season, I lifted, worked out and stuff, but like competition wise, like, no, but I rolled around, you know, I stayed active in it, like, you know, drilling and stuff like that. But, you know, competition was hard, obviously with the baby and stuff and, you know, things like that. And, you know, so things played a factor after a little bit. But when I was younger, you know, I felt like it was always going somewhere and wrestling, like, you know, there was always tournaments around. So, you know, it was fun. I got a lot of mat time in for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's just a different angle that I feel like it's important for people to see, because it's like some people may look at that as like a challenge or adversity, but it's like, you got to navigate different, because at that point in time, you're a father, right? So it's like, I don't like, there's other things more important than wrestling at the end of the day, because wrestling is just a
Right.
sport at the end of the day, right? Being a
Right.
father comes first. So it's like, yeah, you guys may get to go to Virginia Beach. You guys may get to go to Keystone Classic coming up, but
They
Right.
Yep.
father first,
Yeah.
father first,
Right.
so that just shows a lot of character too, because there are people that might be like, yep, I'm out to this tournament, I'm out to here, I'm out to there. So just to see where your priorities are being set is,
Yeah.
just it sheds such a positive light on that being a dad,
Yeah, it was great. Like there's a lot of people that were like, obviously you get the looks, you're young, like people are like, dang, like he's a dad, like that's his daughter right there. He's wrestling in the Valley Conference tournament. You know what I mean? They're like, whoa, like
yeah,
that's different. But like I was always respectful, like I especially when she was born, because like, I couldn't, you get into it on the mat, you go head to head with people, you're going out of balance, you shove people extra, like things happen, you get, it gets
yeah,
crazy. We've been there. But like, it was kind of like, I had to compose myself, more in that aspect. Like I can't lash out. Like I wasn't the lash out type, a little mouthy or something, or like, if I thought a ref made a bad call, you might look at the ref like that wasn't too, back when takedowns were too.
and
But
yeah,
like, that wasn't too, blah blah, you get into that. But like it kept me grounded. Like I didn't do that, like that extra stuff where like I was getting points deducted or like getting, just causing havoc. Like, I was there to
for sure,
wrestle, prove myself, and get off the mat and do what I got to do. You know what I mean?
for sure. Love that. What district is G.A.R? What was that?
We were District 2.
Yeah, I thought so.
See, I don't know the PA districts like that, but I ask everyone
Yeah, it's like
this that
District
that
2,
I hear
District
from
4,
PA.
District 11.
I think I
Do
was
you
double
know
A.
do you know
Yeah,
Matamoros?
that definitely rings a bell. I feel like
Like
that
I think
definitely
I
rings a
think
bell.
their
That's like
school
one of
I
those
think their school
distinctive
was
names.
Delaware Valley, that high school
Yeah, I know
in
Del
PA.
Val for sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I live on the New York side, like right across from Del Val. So I'm like 40 minutes from Del Val in New York, but
Oh,
like
okay.
whatever district that was. Like Jalen Palmer, CJ,
From
the black kids from Del Val.
oh yeah, I have him on Facebook. That's funny. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
I know Joe.
So I lived
Yeah,
I
he was
lived
cool.
around by them. They were the boys.
It's funny because his name J.A.R Palmer. Like I went to school with a kid with the same exact name, no relation. It was just funny. Like you know what I mean? Like it was just one of those things. But he was a good wrestler. Though. I remember like when they had our first districts at the Kingston Armory. Um uh they had double A on one side, triple A on the other. You know what I mean? And obviously we didn't cross over or nothing, but we're both wrestling districts the same day, and he was there. We always used to, cut it up and stuff. A lot of the triple A kids, either they moved and went there, or we just grew up wrestling, and we all still, kept it cool, and we saw each other for years and years and years, like
Yeah,
so we couldn't get away from each other at a point.
yeah, good people. But now what you're coaching, right? What led to that? What led to that transition?
Uh, so I got through high school, I graduated, and I wanted to get right back into the wrestling gig, and get back in and coach, and but when you're at like G.A.R, there's things going on with them, the new school, like all that was already in talks. Like when I was graduating, it just wasn't really like a blueprint on a piece of paper, So like it was kind of like, uh, more or less like if I had to, I have to go to another school district And, which I knew coaches from all over. Like, that's how I ended up at Nanny Coke, which is a little ways from, not like 10, 15 minutes from Wilkes-Barre, But they have, that's a different high school that at least to compete against. Like, I knew coaches from there, coaches from Valley West, Wyoming area, like all these schools. But, at that point, they had these coaches that been there for years. So they weren't really trying to, like, yeah, I could have went there, rolled around, stuff like that. And maybe, went through a couple clinics with the kids and stuff. But I wanted to be, like, in there, like, so plus I had to, the kid and stuff. So I was doing that thing. I went right into working. So, like, obviously I had to make $1, so I went right in, started working, doing what I got to do there. Then once I found time in my life kind of spread out a little bit where I found some time and had things situated, I started contacting people, and that's how I landed the elementary job at first on Nanny Coke. And at that point, when I stepped up there were things going on with Booster Club and people switching and moving and people that have been there for years finally retiring and da-da-da. So, like, that year was kind of like, it was like, like a ball of, like, craziness, a little bit. So, like, after that year, now this was already, like, 4 years after I graduated. After that year, as I was getting out of that season, I had a second child. I'm a girl dad. So,
Girl dad.
Right. So at the end of that season, my second daughter was born, and that was like, all right, well, now let me deal with this. Next year I'll see if I'm available. If not, like, they already had plans already because I told them what was going on. So I didn't go back. I finished the season out. I didn't go back. And then I took like another 2 years off. And then my uncle was in at the new school that they just built. And I wanted to have a foot in there anyway. My nephew, he's on my team right now, my godson. So I get to coach him next to my brother and my uncle. Me, my brother, and my uncle are the coaches. So it's great. But I see my nephew wrestling and stuff. I get to support him and all that. So I wanted to get a foot in there regardless at some point. And my uncle at a family cookout one summer was like, hey, listen, like, the other coach is moving up to varsity, senior high or whatever. It's going to be just me on junior high. They're telling me I can bring on whoever. I want you and Morgan to come over. So I was like, you don't got to say it again. Like, I'm there, so, and that's where it kicked this. This is my third year there.
Nice.
So,
Right
I love being around it. Like, I was just, my fiance's laughed at me on Saturday. I was like walking around through God's pace, and she's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I'm not at a tournament yelling right now. I just feel like I'm bored. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I was literally pacing. Like, I was just, it's a Saturday morning. I should be yelling at somebody's gym right now. You know what I mean?
Because it still feels like you're competing, but I feel like it's worse than competing because you can't do anything.
It is.
You're just on the side like,
no, it's like,
I told her to shoot.
Right. It's funny because, like, they got to that. I'm like, yo, like, it's like when you have a headgear on, you're deaf. Like, I'm telling you, I'm yelling, like, right in your ear almost, like, for, like, wrist control, whatever I'm yelling at the time. And they're like, I didn't hear you. I'm like, dude, the whole gym heard me. There's no way you didn't hear me. Like, go on.
I tell the kids, you were out there wrestling with AirPods in. What are you doing? They go, what? I didn't what? I'm like, you got AirPods inside the headgear, right? They're like, no. I'm like, so why you didn't do what I was saying?
Right. Sometimes I'm like, I want to give them an earpiece that, like, the quarterbacks have, so I can talk to them that way, so they can't say they don't hear me.
Yeah. Now, being a coach, right? What type of philosophies do you imply to your athletes? Like, what is your approach? Are you the laid back guy who, like, sit back and, like, or are you the guy who's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do today, da 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 da. Or are you more mental?
I'm like a little bit of both. Like, I'm like the brainiac in some things. I'm like I'm the laid back. Well, like, that, I wouldn't say laid back. I'm laid back, but, like, I build the relationship with the kids, because they're junior high kids, so they still kind of want to be silly. They want to play some dodgeball before practice to get the sweat going, maybe, or something. Or at the end, they're still at that age, kind of, like, So, I get there usually before, like, me and my uncle sometimes show up at the same time, but most of the time I'm there the earliest. Like, I'll get in, I'll lock the door, go down, restroom, jack the heat up, of course, and get in there, mop the mats or sweep the mats, stuff like that. And, the kids start rolling in, the sports buses start showing up, and, all the football, I'll be sending the kids on routes across the restroom room, like, play a little pickup game, get the sweat going. I build that character with them and that relationship, so they don't ever think I'm just totally 100% on their back and like, micromanaging every, like I tell them, like, we could have fun and we could all get along and ha ha ha. But when people start playing too rough and now people are risking hurt, now it's all right. Now we got to get back to business. You know what I mean? And even if it's nobody getting hurt or nothing, like, you guys could play all you want. But once they say, all right, like, balls in, start running, like, now business starts. Like, you got the goofy stuff out. Like, if you're jogging and talking, it's fine as long as you're, as long as you're still jogging. But, so I'm a little bit of both. Like, I'm strict, but I'm also telling them, like, listen, I don't want to be that way. So just do what you got to do. When business, has to be dealt with, deal with it, and then all the other stuff comes after. You know what I mean? Because, it's just a respect thing. Like, I give up my time to be here. So do you. Like the wrestler. And the wrestlers, and like, you put in what you want to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, we all dedicate our time to come here every day and meet up at a certain time until a certain time to practice. If you're just gonna come here and dog it, you're not benefiting none of us, because I want you to get better, and you want to get better, but you're not giving me what, I need, so I can give you what you need. You know what I mean?
For
It's
sure.
just, I just try to instill that in them, like a discipline type of thing. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, and
My
that's gonna
coach used
prep
to
them
tell us that.
varsity.
Right.
Like, that mentality is going to help them once they get up to varsity, because varsity is a little more strict, I'm sure, with the coaching and
Yeah.
everything. So they learn early. They'll be great for the
Right.
future.
It
They won't-
helps.
Yep.
It helps for sure.
Yeah, my coach used to tell us, he goes, you don't have to wrestle, you get to wrestle. So stop,
Right.
goofing off all the time, because
Mhm.
you don't have to be here. You choose to, you get to be here. So that really stuck with me. But that's good
Yeah,
that you're
because
talking about
you know,
stuff like that.
well, yeah, you sign up, so it's like you signed. Like, if you're a first year kid, I get it. Some of them sign up because they're like, hey, I want to try it, and some of them are just natural. Other ones, take a little bit to catch on, which is okay. And it just comes down to, like, you signed up, you wanted to learn. So while you're
Mhm.
here, make sure that's what you're doing. Make sure that's what you're doing, because at the end of the season, when your parents or even you come up and say, Coach, I feel like, I'm still in the same position I was in the beginning. I'm going to say, listen, there's other kids that were beside you that you can see a difference in, that put you in the category, because now you know what you did wrong. I shouldn't have to tell you, because I want to be the guy to be like, hey, it's because you did this, this, and this wrong. If you're asking me why you didn't succeed or get better or feel like you didn't accomplish nothing, that means you did something wrong, because I'm doing what I have to. You know what I mean? I'm trying to teach you how I was taught. I'm trying to show you what it takes to become, great, and succeed. So, like, if you don't do that on your part, I can't wrestle for you. Like, you can lead a camel to water, but you can't make it drink. Like that old saying. So it's like the same thing. I can bring you to practice. I can get you to ride to practice. I can give you a ride to practice. But if you're not going to practice, it's not going to pay off. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Now, are you ever faced with, like, parents that kind of give you, like, any troubles or anything, being at that age level?
So more parents than none will tell a coach, listen, if you got to yell at my kid, yell at him. Like, when I drop him off for practice, he's yours for 2 hours. Like, you know what I mean? If he's not listening, run him, do what you got to do, to discipline him, whatever. And it's like, we get it. And it's like, sometimes, like, it's not so much the parents saying how we coach. It's because they know we're good coaches and, we're teaching the right way and things like that. But it's more so like some of the kids that wrestle for us in, like, clubs or, like, go back and forth. Some parents or some other people just sometimes think when it's like their kid's choice and, like, at their first period or something, or like at the end of the second period, like, if they defer the first period, like, it's like instead of the kid, like, if I didn't look at my coach and made the choice for myself, I was running sprints to that next practice, like until like I threw up. You know, like, he makes that like unless you know where you're at in the match and he knows you have experience where you know what call you should make. Okay, he'll not let you slide and because you know what to pick. But when we're strategizing right there on the edge of the mat, we're like, hey, listen, we want to put you where they could go. Like me and my brother are talking, like, listen, either neutral or bottom. You know, we got to figure. You know, either got to go big or get an escape and go big. You know, we got to figure this out here. And you know, there's sometimes the kids. It's like sometimes the parents like will get involved. You know, and the kid listens to like the parent and picks. You know, like we had that instance a couple of times, and it's like, I get it. It's still your parent. But that's the thing. It's still your parent, but there's that fine line, you know, coach and parent. Yeah. When they're on my time, let me make the adjustments. You know what I mean? When they're on your time, you can make all the adjustments you want. You know what I mean? And we don't try to come off mean about it, but I guess the way we interpret it to them, you know, some people just take it, you know, the wrong way. And it's no hard feelings, you know, like their kids are great, they're great people, but it's just, you know, the fine line gets broken a lot in wrestling. Everybody knows that, you know, yelling and people during a match. So, you know, sometimes we get, but it's never really crazy though. I mean, most of the parents love us. They like what we do. You know, the kids, they like how we operate. So there's no real complaints.
Right on. Well, moving forward, that was good. That was beautiful. Let's get into your podcast. The idea about your podcast. Let's talk about it. I know you said that you know you want to shed light for the athletes, right? For the younger kids, but what does that look like?
So, like, you know, the thing is, you know, shedding the light on the kids from, you know, the junior high level to the senior high level. You know, by the time, you know, senior high level, you know, if you get bumped up in 9th grade, you know, then you have 4 years. You know, you get bumped up in 10th, you got, you know, 3 years. So if you're one of the lucky kids that get brought up in 9th grade and you get to 4-year experience, if you're already getting some light, you know, your 7th, 8th grade year, you know, by the time you hit senior high, after your first year, you're already going to be, you know, on a different level than what it would have been if, you know, it's just the exposure. Like everything's media, everything's like, you know, views, everything's, you know, share this and, you know, tag this. And so it's like, you know, if I could get you out there a video, you know, just an interview, like, you know, athlete of the week, even like, you know, Times Leader and all them used to do, you know, when I wrestle. I don't know if I know they do that with football and stuff, but I haven't saw a wrestler in there in a good minute. But, you know, and that's no shade, but, you know, just saying, you know, so like, you know, it's just, you know, honestly, it's, you know, the big sports of baseball, football, we all know that, you know what I mean? But,
our area.
You know, wrestling just needs that, like, you know, listen, this is like, you know, you got girls coming up, you got sanctioned sport for girls. That's great. That's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? That's beautiful because for one, it teaches them, you know, some self-defense, you know, an aspect, you know, teaches them to be tough, you know, strong-willed, you know, not that their parents can't teach that or, you know, they can't grow up in that environment, but that just adds extra, you know what I mean? It keeps them grounded, out of trouble, of course, you know, it's a great thing to do. And that's what I want to do. Like, you know, obviously I'll shed light on the girls as well, you know, the boys, you know, high school girls, you know, and that's what I want to do. So by the time they hit that senior high level and they're, you know, scouts are, you know, you're a good wrestler, sometimes 10th grade, you know, even before that, sometimes, you know, scouts are already, yo, that kid in a couple of years is going to, you know, you're already, you know, in their mouth, they get spread around. So, you know, if you already have that, plus, you know, I'm having these coaches come on podcasts with these wrestlers and shedding light on their upcoming matches, you know, like just that, you know, I just feel like by the time they have scouts, it might open doors for even bigger colleges. You know, they might not have heard of them before. You know, now they're seeing it all over media, like, yo, who is this kid? You know what I mean? Like, we should interview him. Let's see what he's about. Like, you know, and, you know, just have a breakdown. Like, I have him on my podcast, you know, put up a little thing, like, here's their record, here's what they're doing, you know, stuff like that. Like, just to give people insight. Here's a little background. Here's where they wrestle out of, you know, stuff like that. And I even went as far as I want to have maybe even, obviously, coaches and wrestlers, but I want to maybe bring a couple referees on the podcast and have them reminisce about some of the like great matches they ref, like some of the tight matches, like even have just have fun with it. Like I want it so positive where like it's literally going to be almost impossible to like give me negative feedback because there's not going to be anything that's relatively close to negative. You know what I mean? It's going to be all for the kids. You know what I mean? And the name, like the name that I bring up for the podcast, is it kind of explains me because like that's the kind of the teams I grew up around and the type of coaches. It was just real gritty, like grind it out, like so grit, grind, and grapple was going to be the name for it. And I just feel like that has a great ring to it. It's like it almost gives like that underdog type of from the basement type of like old factory wrestling room. That's where you walked out of before you just made that up. Like that's what I want. Like what I mean? Like that Rocky story type of feel. Like great kids. Like all the even mini football stuff like Snoop Dogg and all of them. Like they have so many kids going D1, made it to the NFL over the years because they started when they were kids, shine a light and exposure. And I mean, obviously it's Snoop Dogg, but if people like us, like me, you guys, other people, we get that wrestling's a big community. It don't seem like it because of the exposure, but there's a lot of people come together. It could be a great thing like that, and that's the future, is these kids. Like we're the builders for that. So, I feel like giving them something to look forward to and having colleges in their face, and having them see like, wow, like this, I'm already working towards this. It'll keep their mind off of, being in the streets and getting in trouble. And, I think that'll drop a lot of statistics, you know what I mean? And a lot of, I just think it'll be a great thing all around. You know what I mean? On and off of that.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's like our goal for like this podcast. So I'm excited to like help you with yours and you help us with ours. But the thing is about, like you said earlier, like wrestlers, like they don't have all that exposure and everything.
Right.
And if someone says, hey, do you want to be in my podcast? They'll be so excited, especially like when they're in junior high, they're going to brag to their friends. They're like, hey, on this podcast, listen to me. Like, I think like both of us, for when like our podcast start to grow, it's going to be through these wrestlers sharing that they were look at. So they're getting the exposure. We're getting the exposure. They're telling their story. We're telling our story. It's going to be win-win-win for everybody. And it's fun. It breaks up your day. Like right now,
it is fun.
This, it's going to drop at 2 p.m. on a Sunday, but we're recording this at 7:54. Doesn't feel like that. Like it's just breaks up your day. You look forward to it. Gives Damani and my job like something different. Like sometimes we do it during the day. Breaks up the long work day. So
absolutely. And like wrestling's like a thing you could like, as you could tell, like I don't mind talking. I can talk about wrestling forever. You know what I mean? It's just something, stories for days and tactics for days and strat. Like it's a great thing. It's so easy to release and talk about. It's good. Good.
Yeah, and like me personally,
I definitely feel like that.
Me personally, I feel like I wasn't a wrestler, but being around this community, working with coaches, being around the wrestlers at these events and everything, they're excited. They want a match. They may have lost the match. They might be upset. Then their mom buys them gear at these events. Like, it's just a community. You meet so many different people all over the world. I've been to Iowa, going to Iowa again, been to Wisconsin, all over the world, Florida for wrestling. So it's fun. So
yeah, it is
all over.
It is great. You meet so many people. Like it's funny. Like when I started getting back into wrestling, seeing some of the refs still being around, and I walk up, I'm like, "You're still wrestling?" And they're like, "Luton, I never left." And I'm like, I could tell. Like like it's crazy. Like it's funny because I probably have a better, I probably have a better relationship with like 100% of them now than I did when I was a wrestler. Like not because of me, but like my older brother was the rowdy one, and he was like that type. So like. When you come up behind a brother, they're like, oh, he's going to, he's just like him, But like, but I wasn't. Like, we're kind of night and day. So like, now that we're coaches, we're just as crazy, like coming off the chairs, So the refs are like, some of the refs make a joke, like, our refs would be out there, like, just stretching, like, ready to step on the line. And the refs will walk over to our corner and we'll be like, all right, Luton, we're just going to give you guys the corner already because we already know you're going to get rowdy. You know what I mean? Like, because they know, like, but it's a good spirit. Like, we're fighting for the kids for a call. It's not like because we just want to be that way. It's like we thought that was a takedown. We thought that was back. We're fighting for the kids. That's what it comes down to.
I definitely think your podcast could grow into something more as well, like just like a grit, grind, grapple media instead of just a grit, grind, grapple podcast. Like, especially you being from a certain area with a certain demographic, now say because we're learning that, oh, you don't only just need a podcast, you need a page to post your podcast. Not only do you need a page, but you need, maybe do something like make a shirt for the podcast, do this, do that. Well, I feel like with you and being that you're from a specific area that you're targeting, that you can turn that into, all right, this is the grit, grind, and grapple Pennsylvania rankings for high school level, for junior high level, for youth level, right? And I feel like it's just going to spark interest and spark different debates, and it's going to develop into like a forum. And not only would you have your podcast, but now you have a Facebook page. Now you have an Instagram page. Now you might even go even further. You have a Discord where it's just a forum, a community, right? This is the grit, grind, and grapple community. So I feel like that's just like some things that I've been learning throughout the process, where it's like you just want to be consistent and you just want to keep throwing it in people's face, right? They see Adam's a champion, Adam's a champion, Adam's a champion, Adam's a champion, Adam's a champion. I had a kid the other day come up to me, and they were like, yo, what is, I've been seeing this everywhere. What is this? I go, so you're saying you've been seeing it everywhere, but you're asking me what it is. Why didn't you just look it and see what it is if you've been seeing it?
Right.
He goes,
Click on
it. Oh, yeah. He goes, no. I said, but you saw it. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, then it shows that what we're doing is working, because now it's just, throwing stuff at the wall. What sticks? But I definitely feel as though wherever you're at in your process to creating this podcast, I feel like it's going to grow exponentially, because you can connect to the people because you're in that community, right? And they're just it's gonna grow for you quick, So excited for you.
That's what I'm hoping
excited
for.
to see where you could go with that.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Like, whenever you need us, it'll be fun.
Absolutely. Like, I'm like, listen, my biggest setup was like, when you first start that, you're like, all right, like now you're online. You're like, all right, what mics could I use? Like, what's the cheapest right now to start off? Like, you're like, well, what could I do? And like, so when I threw out the status about my idea, and I got a lot of hits on it, and my cousin messaged me. He's like, dude, did you forget I have a whole studio? And I'm like, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about that. And he's like, obviously, because like the live bands that come in the area, he lets them go there and sound check and rehearse a little bit. Like he got it's set at like a music studio. That's literally what it is. Sound pads everywhere, so like the sound absorb. It's awesome. And it's funny because the look of it is an old warehouse, brick walls. Like it's like match made in heaven for like how the look I want it. He already said like the one back room I could dedicate. I could put a piece of wrestling mat in there if I want to run like some type of seminar for the podcast. Like like take down of the week, like take down Tuesday or something, or you know what I mean? Like just I thought about crazy. I was going crazy one day. I would have like just writing things down, but that's where it starts, And so he was like, dude, I'm starting to get it. I have things coming in because I wanted to start one. He's like, I got you. So he's going to obviously be like my first sponsor because it's his building. So his sponsor is going to be Sonic Rehearsal. It's called Sonic Rehearsal. That's the name of his, he has a page, website to book, you can book your music there to go rehearse. And like, that's, it's a really, really good thing. He gets a lot of people. He was on tour, he was on tour with Fetty Wap before. He was a sound engineer for like 2 summers. Like he'd been around and did a lot of things. So he has all that up here. He programming, editing, and all that. So like that was a big leap for me. From having nothing and just having an idea to already having all that equipment I can use and all that like expertise, I was like, oh my God, like if I don't take this, like, what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean?
For
So
sure.
I went over
For
there and
sure.
checked everything out in person, and he's like, dude, whenever you're ready to rock, like, he's like, I'm here. He's like, I sleep here sometimes. Like, I'm here. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
Mm,
I was like, so he's just invested as I am, and that's what I needed, someone to push me too. So it's good.
for sure.
It's good.
Yeah, and it's really it it's a it's more difficult to think about it rather than just to get going, and that was
Right.
really a challenge that I faced early on where it's like, man, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to start. I don't know what to talk about. Just talk and just get on. And it's like something so easy, like even the programming we're using right now, it's like we're on Riverside FM, where we're able to do the podcast from our phone, right? So even you, like early on getting started, if you're like, man, I don't want to buy this or buy this type of camera or this, it's like it's so
You just do
easy
it from
now. It's
here.
like you can do it from your phone. Even if you're doing a one where it's like a studio setup, right? You get a tripod and use your phone. The phones these days have such a crazy camera, right? You use your phone. Boom. Now the only thing is, depending on how long the episodes are, you'll have to upload it to a computer, then pull it off your phone so you kind of save the storage. But you get high quality videos from your phone.
Yeah, for
Now,
sure. Yeah.
if you're like, oh, I need a mic, right? You can get a Rode mic, right? Serena, you have the Rode, right? You can get a
Yep.
Rode mic,
That's what I was looking at. Yep.
or you can
Is it
even just
working
use,
good?
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Or you
no,
can
it's
just
good.
use some
I was
headphones,
hearing you great.
right? Right? You use headphones, whatever. It's like,
Right.
just get out there and pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. Just do it. Just do it.
That's the
Just do
thing.
it.
I was like, listen, I was telling my cousin that, I said, listen, like I could even do like live interviews, like I said, how Times Leader and them used to do, like wait till one of the kids come out to, one of my wrestlers even start off with my wrestlers. So it makes me more comfortable, because I know them, and, like maybe have a couple of them be my first interviewers live, like just have them like, hey, let me ask you a couple questions. And then like, when I do start like the podcast, I can just pop that video up in the corner, say, hey, like click on this link, you can watch me and so-and-so's interview from his match earlier today or this weekend. You know what I mean? Like,
For
and
sure.
really get people to click from one video right to the next, just
For
because
sure.
they want to go, almost like a part two, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
that's you want to see this interview and see how things work. That'll give people an idea how it's going to work for them as well, so they can go watch that interview and say, oh, okay, like that's how he does it. So if he ever walks up to me, I know how, it gives people some insight. You know what I mean? But like,
For
yeah,
sure.
like my cousin said the same thing. He's like, dude, you have an iPad? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you have a phone? You have headphones? He's like, just start doing interviews like that. He's like, just, you know what I mean?
For
And I was
sure.
like, I was like, that is something to think about. So I was literally like, my fiance has whose iPad I'm using now, she has it for school. But like, um, I told her, I was like, listen, like, if I can use just even a little bit of it right now, just for a couple of things I need, let me see how it works. And she's like, I don't care, I don't care. So I was like, all right. So I told her, like, this right here is giving me a feel of like what I could be, kind of like, okay, like it's something this simple. This ain't bad. I could work with something like, so it's giving me maybe more, like at first I was kind of like a little jittery, like, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know if my connection's going to be bad. Like, I don't want it to fail, But as time went on, I'm like, I'm more comfortable. I'm relaxed. Like,
For
this is
sure.
normal to me. It's like we're all sitting in a room talking. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the
honestly.
perk of that's the perk of doing it virtual too, because I feel like it's we can still get that effect as if we were all still hanging out and we're all still together, because I can see you guys, I can hear you guys, I can get live time reactions from you guys. So I feel like even if you wanted to take a virtual route like how we're doing it, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But you have all the access to being live,
Right.
and now you could get, hey guys, come down to the studio, we'll do this. And then I feel like that'll make people be like, oh what, you got a studio and we're gonna,
Right.
man, right?
it makes it feel different. Like, oh, we're going to a place to get interviewed. It makes it feel like, like
Yep.
I remember when I was in high school, so like, I don't know if you're familiar, you're probably at 98.5 KRZ. I know you would be, but I don't know if, like, cause you said you lived out by like New York kind of, so I don't know.
No, yeah, we didn't have that. We had a
All right, so like,
K104.
right, okay, so we have like, Hot 97, and we have, 98.5 KRZ, right, Froggy 101, Rock 107, all that. So, KRZ 98.5, when I was in high school, we had literally like, our program almost got shut down. We only had like 6 kids. And we took 5 of them to regionals. So like that kind of made our school like, whoa, like, okay, like, hold on, they're doing something here. So like we kind of got a little exposure from it because we're like, yo, like, this little school, like that's kind of crazy. So, that radio station's local, like literally right up the road. So they contacted our coach. And so like literally like that was my first ever time. I went into the radio station, into the like big booth, put on a headset like, like yours, and literally like the count like 3, 2, 1. All right, we're live. Like, and like literally like I never knew I had anxiety until that time. Like I was like, whoa, like what is this? Like thank God it wasn't a video, because I was like, I probably look like a wreck right now. Like, I was just like, because we didn't like, when you set up an interview, usually you kind of know what the questionnaire is kind of going to go like, the format in a way, like, for that one, it was kind of like, no, we're just going to go on the fly and just going to ask them like, easy questions, things don't know and stuff. And it was like, he did, but certain things, it was like, you want to sound like decent on the radio. Like, even though you're a high school kid, you don't want to sound like, and, a lot of like, you don't want to do a lot of that. You know what I mean? So like, you're trying to like hurry up and think real quick and process, but it went well. But like, I never was able to get to recording. Like,
Oh, man.
I remember him telling us back. I remember back then him telling us how to get to feed, and I lost it, and then I never gained how to do it. And he actually ended up being a principal at my daughter's school. So it's funny, and I always forgot to bring it up to him. But it was just a cool thing to experience that. And like ever since then, I was like even that time, it's crazy to say this. Like even that time, I was like this would be cool to like do this about wrestling. Like I always thought like. Yeah, I think that's a cool thing. Like, I just thought it was cool to be in a booth like that and being over the top. Like, it's a cool feeling. Like, it made me feel like I was somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was cool.
And the more reps you get, it's like the easier it gets. Like, even now, like the first time where I did anything media in high school, like people can search my name, and like the oldest thing on there is like interviews from, and it's just like, and this, then I'm like, I look at it now and I'm like, oh my God. Like, cause now like I'm a pro fighter, like coach, pro fighter, this and that. So now I get people ask me to go into like the radio shows and all these things. And it's like, it's more natural now, because I'm just exposed to it more. But, man,
just the comfortable, like rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. Consistency.
Yeah, I get that.
That's it. All right. So let's jump into Serena's segment.
Serena's segment. That goes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That sounds good.
Serena's segment, everybody. So we're gonna do rapid fire. It's nothing about wrestling. These questions that I came up with, absolutely nothing. It's just fun, random questions. So AJ, what's a movie you quote all the time?
Mostly comedy movies. You know what I mean? Like Friday or something. Don't Be a Menace. Something like at work, like cracking jokes, like like.
So my grandma gave me that chain.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like stupid. Like like my buddy was sitting one way, like funny the other day. It was actually literally a couple of days ago. So that's why I got brought up in my head. He was sitting and he was like crouching. So I instantly got aside it when Smokey was on the side of the house. And he was like, yo, don't tell nobody I'm here. He's like, yo, everybody, Smokey's taking a you know what I mean? And like, it was just, and I said it out loud and he started crying. He's like, dude, that was like the perfect timing to say that line. Like, I'll quote like Jim Carrey movies once in a while, like just, old school movies usually though. Yeah, old school movies.
All right, another question. if you could swap lives with any celebrity for a day, who would it be?
I'll say Conor McGregor, just because I feel like his life's like always fun. Something's always going on in his life. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
Like, it's just he's always like, something's exciting. It's funny.
All right, I have 2 more. I don't know, this one I don't know. But what's a personal rule you swear by?
Personal rule. Like respect is earned, not given. I would say like that you know, I say that quote a lot to people, like my kids, like, just have them learn that's the way life is. Like, you always show respect, but, like off the bat, you always show respect for somebody. You know what I mean? It's up until maybe you feel disrespect, and then maybe that could change, but you always show respect. You know what I mean? But it's not like you earn it like right off the bat. You're like, oh, you got to earn respect before I get. No, it's like, if they're being nice, they earn your respect. You give that same energy. And you match that energy.
I like it. All right, one more. Would you rather time travel to the past or the future?
I'd probably say the future. My past, I mean, I'm pretty content with, and I probably wouldn't change much because that wouldn't be where I am now.
That's true.
And I watched too many Back to the Future movies to know if you alterate that, it messes up your future. So I'm not going to do that. But the future, I'd like to see like where I'd be in, 5-10 years, just to see if like, damn, what's going on in my life. Maybe the podcast is booming. Maybe things are going, maybe things are going crazy for me. So I'd like to see, what that would look like. That'd be great.
I like it. And that is it for Serena's segment.
What? I like that. A nice ring to it, though. You should keep that.
Yeah.
You should keep that.
All right.
Damn, everybody. One more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man.
So,
I mean, we're coming to the end. That's it.
That's all we got. That's the words out of my mouth, Damani.
No, I'm sorry. That's the only thing about the virtual thing. It's different from like if 2 people are talking at the same time in person, where it's like whatever. But on here, it's like, what? But
Yeah.
but yeah, man, we really appreciate you jumping on with us, and
Yeah, no problem.
excited for you and your future. We love that you're helping out your community, being a coach and giving back, and all things like that, right? People can find you at these tournaments when they see you in the Pennsylvania area, see you doing your thing.
Yeah.
And Great Grind and Grapple podcast coming at you guys, right?
Yep. Coming at you guys. Yeah, I'll look out for a page coming soon. I'm gonna try to at least throw up an intro video introducing myself and maybe who I'm gonna be interviewing first, possibly. But I do want to get that out there. For people who know me, probably have me on Facebook. If you don't, Anthony Luton on Facebook. That's where we'll start. I'll probably share the page on there first, and then have you guys jump over to that and add that page, and go from there. That'll be a start for me. And then as you follow that page, I'll just be uploading as I go, and hope for the best.
Right
awesome.
On, brother. Right on. And for us, you know where to catch us. Sundays, 2 p.m. You get us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Prime, Heart Radio, wherever you get your local podcast, you get it there, right? Advocate of Champions Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by My House Sports, right? And with that, I'll leave you guys with a quote. My quote is, respect is earned, not given. That's actually Anthony's.
Yeah.
Anthony's quote. Say it for the people. Say it for the people. I don't want to steal your quote. You say it.
Well, respect is earned, not given.
Respect
with that,
not given.
And with that,
Peace out, everybody.